It's the final week of the 2021 Texas high school football regular season, and there's still plenty that we've got to sort out. These are the picks. Welcome into the Picks, your guide to the Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we're at the finish line, right? At least one of the finish lines. The end of the 2021 Texas high school football regular season is here in Week 11, and for a lot of teams, this is a bittersweet moment, right? This is the end. We're packing things up, we're putting away pads on Monday, and this is it. But for a number of teams, in fact, a lot of them, the playoffs start next week. But there's still a lot to decide between now and then, right? There's seeding on the line. There's district championships to decide. There's undefeated seasons to determine. And, by the way, there's history to be made. Week 11 is a very exciting time because you get to kind of open the present and take a look at the Texas high school football brackets, which will be up on TexasFootball.com/playoffs starting on Sunday night. So, yeah, we've got a lot of ground to cover between now and the Texas high school football playoffs, and we got to do it in the span of 1 week, right? Let's get started. We start in Tomball. 7 o'clock Friday night at Tomball ISD Stadium. It's a critical 6A showdown between the Klein Bearcats and the Tomball Cougars. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number one, Kale to the Chief. Came up with that one myself. Let's talk about Cale Helms, the quarterback for this Tomball team, and he is a dual-threat dynamo, can do a little bit of everything, 21 touchdowns on the season total, and he is really the straw that stirs the drink. I really like running back Christian Womack as well, but make no mistake, I think that Tomball's game plan starts with Cale Helms, their quarterback. Now, Jalen Leday leads a very strong Klein defense, and they're going to be tasked with containing one of the more dynamic players in the greater Houston area. So, what happens when the dynamic dual-threat quarterback takes the field on Friday night? Key number two, Bearcats' time of possession. So I think that the game plan here for Klein is pretty easy. It's what they've wanted to do all year long, which is go on long, sustained drives, control the time of possession, control the clock, control the pace of this game. And the running game is pretty darn good with Quentin Curtis and Miles Arterberry in the backfield. These two have combined for 1,400 yards rushing on the year. They're going up against the Tomball defense that, plain and simple, the past couple of weeks has been a bit susceptible to the run. They've given up 5.9 yards per carry their last 3 games. It's going to be up to Caven, Tooley, and this Tomball defense to tighten up and take away this running game for Klein. Now, this is a game that I don't think Klein wants to get into a shootout, right? They want to keep this score low, and the running game befits that. If they start chasing, they're in trouble. So, can Klein control the line of scrimmage and the time of possession? And key number 3, the stakes. So, you might be asking yourself, Tepper, Klein and Tomball, this is the game you really want to spotlight this week? I mean, we got Denton Ryan and Frisco Lone Star. We got Westlake and Lake Travis. We got these battles of unbeatens. Why are you talking about these two teams? That's because this is a playoff game. Plain and simple. This is win and in, lose and out. The winner of this game is 4th place in District 15 6A. They get into the playoffs. They are playing next week. The loser of this game is blowing up basketballs on Monday. Those are the stakes. The playoffs have started early for Klein and Tomball. This is a literal must-win situation. And with that comes pressure. With that comes a little bit of mental games. With that comes a little bit of high stakes. That's what we're up against here at Tomball ISD Stadium on Friday night. A true blue, bona fide, no frills attached playoff game. So, playoffs have come early. Who steps up to the plate? Who am I picking? I'm going with Tomball. The Cougars get the nod here on the strength of not only their dual-threat quarterback, Cale Helms, but also the running game with Christian Womack and a defense that I think can make enough plays. What I worry about in this game for Klein is that if they get behind, I'm not sure they are built to chase. And so for Tomball, I think it's incredibly important for them to start fast, get out to a lead, and make Klein sweat. Now, on the other side, if Klein is able to get a couple of stops, especially a couple of turnovers, and start playing from ahead and hold Tomball at arm's length, that is exactly where they want to play. I think this game is pretty much a coin flip, and with so much on the line, you never know how these teams are going to react. But for now, I'm going with the homestanding Cougars. Give me Tomball. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Chaparral Stadium in Austin. It's the Battle of the Lakes, a state-ranked 6A rivalry matchup between the Westlake Chaparrals and the Lake Travis Cavaliers. And this is a game we were supposed to get twice last year, and we got 0 times. first regular season game was canceled due to COVID-19. The playoff game never materialized because Lake Travis got bounced in the first round. So these two teams are anxious to get on the field with one another. We haven't talked a ton about Lake Travis this season so far, but it has been steady as she goes, exactly as you would expect from this Cavaliers program. Quarterback Bo Edmondson has been great. I think Derek Johnson, their running back, has been a revelation. They have a great bevy of wide receivers, most notably the blue chip wide receiver in Caleb Burton and Isaac Norris as well. And the defense, been pretty solid, right? For Westlake, the name of the game here is defense. It is statistically the second best defense in all of Class 6A, led by Will Courtney. And the defense is what leads the way. Their defense has been absolutely impenetrable this season, which is kind of what we've come to expect from a defense coached by defensive coordinator Tony Salazar. The offense is a little bit interesting, only because we don't know if Cade Klubnik is going to play. The Clemson commit quarterback has been out with a non-throwing shoulder injury for the past couple of weeks. Todd Dodge has played a little bit close to the vest as to whether or not he's going to play on Friday night. If not, they'll turn to Christian Edgar, who has been solid, a guy that they have really had no problems getting the offense going, especially because they've got so many great weapons on the outside like Jaden Greathouse. Look, this game's super interesting, obviously, and a huge rivalry matchup. There's going to be a lot of emotions in this game. The one thing that is a little bit of a bummer is that there's not really anything on the line playoff-wise. Both these teams are in the playoff. They're going to the separate brackets. Westlake's going to the Division II bracket, Lake Travis to the Division I bracket. But make no mistake, this is a huge game in the Austin area. I think the Westlake defense is the difference here. Give me the Shaps. 7 o'clock Friday night at the Star in Frisco. It's a 5A Division I showdown between the Frisco Lone Star Rangers and the Denton Ryan Raiders. Let's talk for a minute about one of the most underappreciated stars in Texas high school football this season, and that is Ashton Jonty, the running back, wide receiver, do-it-all athlete for this Lone Star team. Dude's got 39 touchdowns on the season. Yeah, that's leading the nation. He's been unbelievable. And, of course, they've still got Garrett Rangel in his 150th year of eligibility there at Lone Star. And the defense has been very solid, as it usually is under Coach Jeff Rayburn. For Ryan, the defending 5A Division I state champs are kind of rebuilding on the fly, but the results have been very good. Khalib Hicks, their running back, has been great. Kalen Davis, the quarterback, I think is growing into the role. And, as usual, the defense is absolutely stacked with Anthony Hill Jr. leading the way. This is a game in which I think it's dictated by pace, right? I think Ryan wants to win a slugfest. I think Lone Star is very happy getting into a shootout. And so who, especially on a fast track there in Frisco, has the edge as far as dictating the terms of engagement? Look, this game is pretty much a coin flip, and it's going to tell us a lot about how Region 2 of 5A Division I shakes out whenever the brackets come out on Sunday night at texasfootball.com/playoffs. For now, I got to give the nod to the defending champs. Give me Ryan. 7 o'clock Friday night at Bulldog Stadium in Magnolia. It's a 5A battle of unbeatens between the College Station Cougars and the Magnolia West Bulldogs. You know, Magnolia West, I think one of the quietest 9-0 teams in the state, but they've got a really nice 1-2 punch offensively with quarterback Brock Dalton and running back Hunter Bilbo. They've given opponents fits, and the defense does enough, right? That is what is really the hallmark of this Bulldogs team. I think that they complement each other really well. But they're going up against their biggest test of the year, and they're going up against one of the biggest tests in the state in College Station. This team has been, when we say dominant, this is what we mean by dominant. College Station has outscored their opponents 498-44 this season. That is rude. And everywhere you look on College Station, they're loaded. Quarterback Jet Huff, running back Marquise Collins, wide receiver Trey Sewell, linebacker Jackson Slanker. This team looks the part of a state championship contender. They look outstanding. And at this point, I have to see somebody play College Station close before I'm willing to believe that somebody can actually beat the Cougars. So for now, I got to give the edge to College Station. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Buffalo Stadium in Forsan. It is a battle of unbeatens, this one in the 2A ranks, as the Hawley Bearcats take on the Forsan Buffaloes. For Hawley, as fun as it is to talk about quarterback Rody Hooper, I really like this kid. We have to talk about the defense, because the defense has been the best in the state. And I'm not overcooking it when I say that. They have literally been the best defense in the state. They've given up 21 points in 9 games, okay? But let's zoom in even a little bit further, okay? So 21 points in 9 games. 2 of those 3 touchdowns were deep in garbage time, okay? Fourth quarter, they're already up by 40-plus points at that point. 2 garbage time touchdowns. So they've given up 1 competitive touchdown this season. That came in the first quarter of the first game of the season. They haven't given up a competitive touchdown in 8+ games. Remarkable. Remarkable what the Hawley defense is doing. And that is the challenge that faces this Forsan attack. They're going to keep the ball on the ground with Nate Hernandez and Major Stockton. The running game has got to be very good for Forsan. Look, we just got to find out if anybody can beat Hawley's defense. That's it. And then, by the way, you've also got to slow down Rudy Hooper, the quarterback for Hawley. Yeah, I'm going to go with Hawley in this one. They look like a team of destiny. They look like this defense is pretty much impenetrable. I like the Bearcats. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Pirate Stadium in Corpus Christi is another battle of unbeatens, this one in the 3A ranks, as Corpus Christi London takes on San Diego in this week's, hey, did you know these two teams are undefeated? Matchup of the week. These are two teams that are kind of going to be looking in the mirror when they face off against one another. San Diego is big and beefy up front. They like to win in the trenches, and they let their quarterback, R.J. Valerio, kind of do the rest. London's the same way. Absolutely massive up front, just mashing people in the trenches, and then they let their quarterback, Ace Navarrillo, do everything else. He's a bit of a dual-threat guy. The other reason they're going to be looking in the mirror is that I don't know if these teams have really played anybody. I mean that in a respectful way. This is just the second opponent for both of these teams that have a winning record on the season. And they have the same team that they've played that has a winning record, in third place Lyford in that district. So, huge test for both these teams. We really don't know a ton about either of them. We're going to find out a lot on Friday night. Should be a fun, physical matchup. And you know what? I like San Diego. Give me the Vaqueros. But those are far from the only big games in Week 11 of the Texas high school football season. Let's get to the lightning round. I like Lovejoy over Frisco Liberty. Give me Lindale to take down Kilgore out east. And Brock finishes 10-0 with a win over Pilot Point. I like Granger over Somerville, Sinton over Ingleside, and Austin Vandegrift beats Round Rock. I like Mason over Ozona. Give me Lake Worth over Wichita Falls Hershey. And Argyle gets past Paris. Out east, I like Tatum over Sabine. Out west, I like El Paso Del Valle over El Paso Chapin. And somewhere in the middle, I'm going with Childress over Canadian. I'm going with El Paso Eastwood over El Paso Americas. That game, by the way, is straight up for a playoff spot out there. I like Woodville over Anahuac. And give me Lubbock Roosevelt to beat Idalou. Big rivalry matchups. I like Montgomery over Montgomery Lake Creek. Midland Legacy beats Odessa Permian in that vaunted rivalry. And I like Longview over Tyler. Give me Timpson over Shelbyville, Joaquin over Garrison, and Fredericksburg over Lampasas. Harlingen South finishes perfect with a win over Los Fresnos. Give me McAllen Row over McAllen, and I like Lago Vista over Blanco. Give me Cibolo Steel over Smithson Valley in San Antonio. I like West to stay perfect with a win over Maypearl, and I like the Woodlands over the Woodlands College Park. Bosqueville beats Hamilton. I like Dangerfield to beat Paris Chisholm, and give me Pearland Dawson over Pearland. Holiday over Henrietta. Give me Seymour to beat Archer City. And I like Barbers Hill in a slight upset over Texas City. Clarendon over Shamrock. Canyon takes down Hereford. And I like Sweetwater to beat Monahans. I like San Antonio Brennan over San Antonio Marshall. New Deal takes down Sundown. And Carrizo Springs finishes off a perfect record with a win over Hondo. Munster beats Petrolia. And we got two six-man games of the week this week. I like Motley County to get by Jayton. And Strawn beats Gordon in one of the best rivalries in Texas high school football. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Which games did I leave out? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/DaveCampbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/DaveCampbells. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2021 Texas High School Football Playoffs at texasfootball.com/playoffs. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the final week of the Texas High School Football regular season. We'll see you.